Alright guys, so today we're going to be replacing the front CVaxle on this 92 Honda Accord. It will be the same from 90 through 93, including the CB9s. Today we're going to be replacing the driver's side CVaxle. This is a 4-speed, so it has the longer CVaxle. If you're wondering, the other side, the passenger side, will be shorter. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This is a simple process and it can save you money by doing it yourself. Alright, now the first thing we're going to want to do is take this axle nut off while everything else is still assembled. That way it's got a little bit of pressure against it, makes it a lot easier. Now I'm going to be using an impact here. It's a 36mm socket. You can use a breaker bar, but if you're going to do that, I do recommend heating it up a little bit first just to break the threads loose, because metal expands when it gets hot. And these go on pretty tight, and a lot of times they'll put Loctite on them. So I'm going to be using impact just to save time. Alright, now that we've got that nut off, we're going to go ahead and take this brake caliper and bracket apart off the back side. Alright, now here on the bottom side, here is a 17mm bolt. We're going to want to take that out, and that'll take off the bottom side of this bracket. And then right up here on the top side, there's another one right there. Again, it's a 17mm bolt. Alright, now the brake line that runs out of your caliper here, it's going to be connected to a bracket, and you're going to have two 10mm bolts there. You're going to want to remove those bolts so you can take this hose line and move it out of the way with the caliper. Alright, now that we've got that undone, we're going to go ahead and finish taking these two bolts out to hold the caliper on and the bracket. Simply lift up, and you can set this out of the way. As you can see here, I put my tire up underneath here just for extra safety. But you can just take the caliper and set right down on top of your tire, right out of the way. And then you don't got to worry about hanging it, because we're going to want this whole area open. Alright, now we're going to remove the castle nut off this control arm. It's a 17mm bolt. There would normally be a Carter pin in here, but the Carter pin is obviously not there. Probably disintegrated. But we're going to go ahead and take this off, and we'll pop this out. Then we'll be able to get to the ball joint on the bottom side. Then we'll be able to get to the other castle nut right here on the top ball joint, connected to the upper control arm. Alright, now when it comes to removing the outer tie rod arm, I know I called it a control arm a minute ago. It's a tie rod. My bad, just got ahead of myself there. You got two different options. You can use a pickle fork, which is my favorite to use, and then you got these little presses right here. So you just slide it in, and the bottom of the bolt will slide in right here. There's a little divot in there, and as this tightens, it brings it up and it can pop it out. Now, for certain applications, this works really well, but quite honestly, I prefer this. And just like that, it came out. Now, not in all applications is it going to be that easy. Alright, now here is the bottom nut that holds the ball joint in place. It is also a 17mm, so we're going to want to go ahead and take that out as well. Alright guys, so here's the press in action. I decided to go ahead and use it just to show you guys. Boom, just like that, pops right off. So now we're going to get this disconnected. Now again, normally there would be another Carter pin inside of here, but there wasn't because, well, there just wasn't. Really not sure why. So whenever I put this back together, I'm going to make sure that everything has a Carter pin in it because it needs to have that for safety reasons. It does help stop the nuts from backing off if they get loose. That way you don't end up getting in an accident. But in this particular case, they were just all missing, and I'm really not sure why. Just to give you guys a little bit better angle to be able to see it, because on the bottom one, couldn't quite give you a good example of it. So it just slides right in underneath the rubber boot and the top of this knuckle arm here. This little bar on the bottom has a little cradle in it. The bolt will set right inside of there, and this tightens down, presses up, and pushes the ball joint out. Alright, now that we've got the bottom ball joint disconnected, we've got the top control arm and ball joint disconnected, and the outer tie rod disconnected. We've taken the calipers off, and we've already taken the axle nut off. We did that first. Now this will just simply lift up and pull right off. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to have to remove this bottom bolt, which controls the bottom of the fork arm for the shock assembly. So 17 millimeter. The bolt side is here on the right side. Over here on the left side, there's a nut on this side. So you can get this side broke loose, and then we're going to have to probably tap the bolt out, but that won't be too much of an issue. We'll see how it is when I get in there to it. Alright, so the nut started to come loose, but now the whole bolt is spinning. So I'm going to go ahead, just put my impact on the other side here. Give it a quick little spin. Alright, so now that we've got that bolt out, we're going to want to make sure that we put our transmission in neutral for this. It'll make the CVaxle pop out easier, and it will make sure that it slides in properly. Alright, so my audio wasn't very loud in this area, so I'm doing a voiceover real quick for you guys. You're going to want to locate a small pry bar, something with a real fine tip on it. The way you can get in between the transmission housing and the CVaxle to pop it out of place. Again, make sure your transmission is in neutral. Alright, so here underneath the vehicle, here is the shaft where the CVaxle comes in. You can see right there, I'm spinning it back and forth a little bit. You see that gap right there to the right? That's where we're going to slide the pry bar into. This is a pretty tight area. I don't have the car on a lift. So let's see if I can get a better shot for you. Alright, there we go. You can see here I got my bar. I'm going to slide it in right here, and we're just going to pry out on it. Alright, now as you can see there, we have removed the CVaxle. Sorry I couldn't get a shot of me popping it out, but really just put it in there, put a little pressure on it, and it'll pop right out. You shouldn't have to force it one bit. It'll just easily pop right out. Alright, now that we've gotten that CVaxle popped out, we're going to pull it out a little bit here, and we're going to pull on the shock right here, on this bottom arm, pull it out from underneath, and this will slide right out. Now that we've got the new one, slide it back in, pull up, and slide it right back into place. Now I'm going to crawl back under here, get it lined up, and slide it back into the transmission. Really easy to do. If you can't get it in all the way, come back out here and then kind of push on the inside here and twist it a little bit, and it'll pop right into place. Alright, now that we've got the CV axle back in place, you can see here that it's locked in. I just simply got under there, lined it up, and pushed it back into place, and it popped right in. If it doesn't pop right in, double check that your transmission is in neutral, because that does make a difference. If it's still not going in properly, take the nut right here, line it up just like before. Make sure the edges are back so you don't hit the edges on it too hard. So you want to make sure that it's even. Lift up on it, make sure everything's pushed back straightly. Kind of tap on it, don't go and beat on it. You want to make sure that you're just tapping on it when you do it, and that'll seat it back into place. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get this bottom bolt put back in. Boom. Go ahead and get that tightened back up and start reassembling everything else. Alright, now just like I said before, we're going to want to make sure we put new quarter pins in all of this. That is the outer tie rod and ball joint, the upper control arm ball joint, and the lower ball joint. We want to make sure that there's quarter pins in all three of those. Alright, so I've got a quarter pin put in right here, a quarter pin put in here, and one here that I'm just going to kind of have to bend into place, but I'll get it in there. So we want to make sure that we get those tightened up and bent correctly. Alright, now the final thing to do, we need to put the axle nut back on here. It gets torqued to between 150 and 165 pounds. You kind of can look around on the internet, you can look at the Chilton's manuals, Haynes manuals, you can look it up anywhere, and it's going to kind of vary. Between 150 and 165, I tend to put it about 155-ish. But I recommend putting a torque wrench on it, the way you know you get it to the right specs. Alright, now I got my torque wrench out. I got it set to 155 pounds, 36mm axle socket here. I'm going to put this on. Now that we've got the car lowered, we can finish tightening those properly. Alright, we know it's on good and tight now, so let's go take this for a test drive. Alright, so I just took the car out for a drive. Everything is perfect on it. There's no more clicking noises. That's how you would know if your CVaxle is bad, is whenever you go to turn the wheel, you can hear clicking noises. Now in this case, I've already replaced it. I didn't get the noise recorded before doing this video. Raining outside, sleeting, so there was ice all over the car. Just trying to hurry up and get it dried off so I can start working on the video. But everything is working good now on it. I hope this video was informative. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and also make sure to smash that like button. It really helps out the views that I get on my channel, and I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Yeah, that would be awesome, guys. And this is not my project car. This is just one of my daily drivers. It's the 92 Honda Accord Coupe. And yeah, it's got some squeaks and things to it. I mean, hey, it's reliable. It does what I want it to do. But I have some videos coming up here really soon for my other car. We're going to be working on the ignition switch again. And I'm going to be redoing the push button on it, putting toggle switches in. I also have a stereo install video that will be coming up, as well as changing out the lights in the instrument cluster. I'm going to be converting those to LED, and there's going to be a lot more projects to come. So again, please hit that subscribe button if you're new here, and please smash that like button. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.